said, we are going to start with the 4mm, and we're going to go ahead and make a slip knot, and you're going to chain. I chained a total of 70, but this is basically the half of my bust measurement, so you're going to chain a total of 70. After my 70 chain, in my case, I'm just going to take the measurement so you guys can have an idea of what the measurement is. So as you can see that mine is 17, but it stretches all the way to 20, which is the half of my bust measurement. So from here on, we're going to go ahead and chain an extra one, and we're going to go into every chain with half double crochet. So for half double crochet, you're just going to yarn over, go into the second chain, pull through. Now you have 3 loops, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops again. Again, you're going to yarn over, go into the next available chain, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And this is what I'm going to repeat until I get to the very end. So I just finished the first row of the half double crochet. So now we're going to start with row 2, chain 1 and turn, and this time around we are going to go ahead and do a single crochet row. We're just going to go into that very first stitch with a single crochet, and a single crochet is basically insert the crochet hook into the stitch, grab the yarn, and now you have 2 loops. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 2 loops, and this is where you're going to repeat 1 single crochet until you get to the very end of the row. I did a total of 4 rows, so I'm alternating between the half double crochet stitch and the single crochet stitch, and you can make this as wide as you want to, but I think 4 rows of this for the base is perfect. So I just finished my 4 rows of half double crochet and single crochet. We are going to start with the base. So remember I told you the pattern is worked in multiple of 3, which means 3 3 3 3 3. So we are going to start the pattern by chaining 6 and turn. After doing that, you're going to skip 2 stitches, the next 2 stitches, and you're going to go into the third with a double crochet. Right after a double crochet, you're going to chain 3, skip 2 stitches, 1 2, and into the third with a double crochet. Right after, you're going to chain 3, skip 2 stitches, and into the third with a double crochet. Repeat that until you get to the very end of the row. So coming to the end, you're going to end of the row by chaining 3 again and go into that last stitch with your last double crochet stitch. Right after, you're going to chain 5 and turn, and you're going to go into this first chain 3 space with a single crochet, chain 3 into this chain 3 space with a single crochet, chain 3 into this chain 3 space with a single crochet, and repeat up until the very end. So coming to the very end, you're going to chain 3 and go into this last space with a single crochet, and you're just going to repeat the first row and this row all over until you have your desired length. So I'm going to again chain 6. So whenever you're working your double crochet row, you're chaining 6, and whenever you're working the single crochet row, you're chaining 5. That's the difference between the 2 rows. So after chaining 6, you're going to go into this chain 3 space with a double crochet, chain 3, and into each chain 3 space across the row with a double crochet. So you're just gonna chain 3, a double crochet, chain 3, a double crochet until you get to the very end. And I'm going to use my 4mm to do this for a few rows. I'm gonna come back and show you guys how many rows I did and how I switched from the 4mm to the 5mm. But for now, I'm just gonna repeat this first, second, and third row until I get to the desired length. Guys, so I finished my back panel, and this is what it looks like. Again, I'm going, like you guys already seen from the thumbnail, it's not super long, so you have to obviously make this according to your desired length, but this is the perfect length for me. Again, we started from the bottom all the way to the top. I did 6 sets. Yes, I did a total of 6 sets. Row 1 and row 2 is 1 set. I did a total of 6 sets with the 4mm, I switched to a 5mm, and I did a total of 8 sets, which leads me up all the way to the top. Right after, I switched to a 2mm, which is for the waist area, from the waist area up until you're on the bust area, and I did a total of 9 sets, if I'm correct. Yes, 9 sets, and that leads me all the way up there. And then for the final few sets for the back panel, I did a total of 11 sets with the 4mm again. So you're basically switching from 4 to 5 to 2 and then back to the 4mm, and that is going to give your dress a dimension, and so it can actually fit your body. To know how many rows you need to do, I think the numbers would actually go for every size, because it's lengthwise and not breadth-wise, so I do think it goes. But if you want the perfect measurement, I'll suggest you just measure from your shoulders up until your bust, and that's going to be the last set of shells you do, because you're starting from the bottom of the purse. And right after, you're going to measure from your underbust up until your waist, and then that's going to be the second to last set. And then right from your waist up until your on the hips is going to be your hips area, and then the rest to your desired length. Hopefully that was easy to understand. I hope it's easy. I'm gonna try and find a way to explain this as well while I'm editing if it's a little bit complicated. For the front panel, you're going to repeat the same exact process. The only difference is when you get to the last set, the last few sets, which is the last 9 or 10, let me check. Yeah, so when you get to the last 11 sets, you're going to just go ahead and do 5 instead of 11. So you're going to do 5, which is going to leave us with a total of 7. So I'm going to get that done. I'm going to come back, and then we can do the neck finishing for the front panel and attach everything together before we start with the sleeve. Again, you're going to subtract 7 sets from the 11 final sets of mesh, and then you're going to just come back when you have that complete. So I do have both sets here with me, not complete because the front panel still needs another adjustment, but I just wanted to align these two panels together so you can see the length difference between the two panels. So right there, this is my back panel and this is my front panel, so automatically you do see that there is an inches difference, which is going to be the design for the front panel. So this is what it looks like. Again, I did a total of 5 for the last few sets. I was supposed to do 11, I did 5 because the 7 is going to be divided, and that is going to give us the division around the boobs area. Hey guys, right from here you can also see, I wanted to show you guys what the pattern looks like, so you can see that the different sizes of crochet hooks immediately just gives a different shaping to the pattern. So right there you can see that it goes wide in because obviously we switched from a 4 to a 5, and right afterwards you can see that it goes inwards because we did switch to a smaller, and then again it goes a bit outwards because of the bust area. So this is what my pattern looks like now. I'm going to fold this into the half so I can have the center, because the center is what we are going to work on now, because we're going to do that separately. So I'm just going to grab a stitch marker and mark that center stitch right there to do. So I'm just going to mark that with a stitch marker, and now I know that is going to be my center stitch. So I'm just going to grab the 4mm because that's what we're going to continue to use for this side of the pattern. Same exact process. The only difference is this time you're working to the center and back to the opposite side. So I finished. You always want to make sure you finish your row with a single crochet row. So because I'm going to start with a double crochet row, I'm going to go ahead and chain 6 and turn. Afterwards I'm going to go into this first chain 3 with a double crochet, chain 3, a double crochet, chain 3, and I'm going to repeat up until I get to the stitch marker. So guys, you're going to make sure you repeat your row until that very last chain 3 space. So right there is a chain 3 space. So from there on, I'm just going to go ahead and chain 5 and turn, and I'm going to go into the chain 3 space, the last one I did with a single crochet, chain 3, a single crochet into the next chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 space. And this is obviously what I'm going to repeat. Remember, when you start a row, if you're starting a double crochet row, you're chaining 6, and if you're starting the single crochet row, you're chaining 5. And instead of doing 7 sets separately, you're going to go ahead and do 3 sets separately on each side. So I already finished the 3rd set, so I'm just going to cut off the yarn, reattach the yarn on the opposite side, and do the same 3 sets. Afterwards, we're going to do 1 set, and then we separate the sets again. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know what I'm doing, but if this video is up and you're seeing this part, that means it was a success. So again, I'm going to cut off the yarn, reattach the yarn on the opposite side, do 3 sets, and I'll see you guys when I have the 3 sets complete. Hey guys, so I just finished the 3 sets on this side as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over this previous row. So I'm going to start from this side, go into this one and end the row, and start again. So let's do that together. So I'm going to just start the row just the same way I started double crochet row, chaining 6, turn, and right into this first chain I'm going to go with my double crochet, just the same basic pattern, and I'll see you guys when I get at the center. So now that I'm at the center, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that last with a double crochet, chain 3, grab the opposite side, and I'm going to go into this first space with a double crochet, and this automatically connects the 2. So again, you're going to chain 3 and continue to do the same pattern until you get to the end of the row. So this automatically gives us a circle or whatever, an opening right at the very front. So now we have, let's just count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to complete the 4 sets with the single crochet row. So you're going to chain 5 and then just repeat the single crochet row up until the very end. So you're going to go into that very space with a single crochet, chain 3, and repeat this. Make sure you go across the opposite side, because now we are just working the full pattern instead of 2 different patterns, 2 opposite sides, sorry. So when you get to the center, you're going to go ahead and single crochet right at that center. Again, chain 3 and go to the opposite side with your single crochet as well. So this is what it looks like. So guys, right after the step, we now have a total of 4 sets, which means we have 3 more sets to complete. What we're going to do for the 3 more sets is we're basically going to do the same pattern, but this time we're going to decrease. This might come off a bit complicated, but trust me, you're going to like the final result. So what we're going to do now for the last 3 set of mesh, sorry, I'm used to saying shells, I keep on losing my words, is we're going to go into the center and decrease. So that is going to give us a pattern that we can attach to the back of the back panel, sorry. So to get started with the row, you're going to chain 6 now, because this is a double crochet row, and I'm going to just work the pattern up until the center. So right there we're at the center, right? So what we're going to do at this point is we have a center space and then the last single crochet, which is in this space. Usually we would go into this chain 3 space with a stitch, but because we are going to decrease, we are going to skip this and just end off the last stitch into that space, into the previous space, which automatically gives us a decrease. And again, whatever you do on this side, you're going to make sure you do on the opposite side. So on the opposite side, when you're coming from this point, you're going to last end up your stitch your last row, you're going to insert your last stitch into this, which gives you a decrease because you're going to skip this. We're skipping this and this. So remember, we did a single crochet at the center. That single crochet is the center stitch. So this first 2 stitches after the single crochet on each side is going to be skipped, and that is going to be the first decrease. And also remember, you're only decreasing on this side and not on the outside. So right after that, you're going to turn, and this time around we are going to work a single crochet row. And because we are decreasing, you're not chaining anything, you're just going to go into this chain 3 space with a single crochet, and that automatically gives you another decrease right there. And afterwards, you're going to chain 3 now and continue your single crochet row. Right there, we just end of the row. So because the next row is a double crochet row, I'm going to chain 6. Also keep in mind that whenever you're starting from the side, you don't have to do any decrease. The decreasing is only done at the center of the panel. So right into the first chain, I'm going to go with a double crochet stitch, chain 3, and repeat that until I get to the center. Into the center, because I want to decrease, I'm just going to skip the last stitch, which in my case is this stitch right there. So this is where I did my single crochet stitch and then I chain 3. So I'm going to skip this chain 3 space and turn. This is going to look a bit awkward, but you'd see the reason why we're doing this again. So for the next row, we have a single crochet row. Again, we're going to decrease. You're going to skip this first stitch. You're not skipping, you're not chaining anything, you're just going to skip this first stitch and go into the next with a single crochet. From here on, you're going to chain 3 and repeat your single crochet row until you get to the very end. Hey guys, so I'm just gonna show you guys what it looks like because I just finished one side. So I finished the 7 rows. So I finished the rows of decrease, which automatically gives me 7 sets. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 sets in total, and I'm going to repeat the same exact process on the opposite side. So I'll suggest you do that, and then we have the front panel complete. I'm going to finish that, come back and show you guys how we can attach the two together, and then from there we are going to start working on the sleeve. We're working on the sleeve separately, and we'll later on go ahead and attach the sleeve onto the 2 pieces, the front and back panel. So I finished both panels. I'm just going to show you guys how you can go ahead and attach the 2 together. Super simple, just the same way you would with any panel. So you're going to align the front and the back. Usually just like the back to be underneath and then the front right at above. Hopefully you guys can see the entire piece. So what we're going to do from this end, you're going to make sure you align both of the piece. I honestly just love how stretchy this stitch is. I think I'm going to use this stitch for so many other different pieces. So right here we have the piece. What you're going to do is you're going to attach this side, this top set, you're going to attach it to the up back panel with a single crochet, and you're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Of course, right after, you're going to take your bust, your armpit hole measurements. You can also use you're going to take your armpit hole measurement. Right after, you're going to mark wherever you want the sleeve to actually, or however wide you want your armpit hole to be, and right after, you're going to single crochet up until the very edge. And of course, whatever you do on the side, you're going to do on the opposite side as well. So since I still have my crochet yarn attached, I'm just going to go into that last stitch, and I would suggest you just align these 2 together. I'm gonna suggest you align each shell or each mesh, guys. So sorry, I'm just used to saying shells. You're going to align each mesh with the back panel as well, just so you have a straight panel. And I'm going to go into this, and just like that, I'm going to turn and go into each and every space on the front panel, do the same thing on the back panel, and single crochet the 2 available space together. Again, go into the next chain and find the next chain on the back panel, single crochet 2 together. Go into the next chain, find the next chain on the back panel, single crochet the 2 together. And that's what I'm going to repeat until I get to the edge. And just like that, you have this. So I'm just going to chain, and right there we have one side. So I'm going to do again whatever you do on one side, you have to make sure you do on the opposite side, and also make sure you do that at the same side, so you have the seam on one side and not on the opposite side. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to again take a measurement tape and measure how wide I want my armpit hole to be. So now that I have marked that area, I'm just going to single crochet just the same thing I did right up there all the way to the very end. So I'm going to do those 2, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's complete. So we are going to start with the sleeve, and to do that you're going to again make a slip knot and chain in multiple of 3. I am going to go ahead and chain a total of 70. So multiple of 3 plus 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and chain 70. After chaining 70, you're going to go ahead and straighten the chain, because we're going to go into that very first chain with the slip stitch, because this time around we were working in the rounds of the panel. So you're going to go into that very first stitch again and slip stitch to have a circle. So right there we have a circle. This is my sleeve, desired sleeve width. So you can make this smaller, if you can make this bigger, depending on how you want your sleeve to be. I don't want mine to be fitted, so that's the reason why it's a bit wider compared to the usual. So from here on, you're going to go ahead and chain 1, and you're going to go into the first stitch with the half double crochet, first chain, sorry, and you're going to repeat 1 half double crochet up until the very first beginning. So guys, you're just repeating this. We're basically doing the base that we did for the front and the back panel, which is 1 half double crochet row, 1 single crochet row, and alternate between that for a total of 4 rows. So I'm just going to repeat that. When I get to the very beginning, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the very first stitch. Right here I just finished my first row, so coming to the very beginning, I'm going to find the first half double crochet stitch I did and slip stitch right into that to end of the row. Afterwards, you want to make sure you straighten your panel, you straighten your piece. You want to make sure it's straightened. If it's not straightened, then go ahead and do so. And from here on, you're going to chain 1 and repeat single crochet into every half double crochet from the previous row. When you get to the very beginning, you're going to find the first single crochet you did and slip stitch into that first stitch, and repeat that for a total of 2 rows. So 1 more half double crochet row and 1 single crochet row, and I'll see you guys when I have that complete. So right here I just finished the base, so we are going to start with the pattern. We're doing the same exact pattern. The only difference this time around is we are working in rounds instead of panels, which means we are not going to be doing the chain 5 and chain 6 at the very beginning. You're going to skip that. We're only doing that for the first row. So again, you're going to chain 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 6. You're going to, after chaining 6, you're going to skip 1, 2 double crochet, and into the third you're going to go with a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and into the third with a double crochet, chain 3, skip 1, 2 stitches, and into the third with a double crochet. And this is what I'm going to repeat until I get to the very beginning. Coming to the very beginning, what we are going to do after that last double crochet, you should have at least 2 more stitch. If you don't have a 2 more stitch, it's okay, though it's not a big deal. You can just ignore the fact that you don't have 2 and just go into this with your single crochet. Again, we're going to just go ahead and chain 3 now, and go into this space with a single crochet. And this chain 6 we did is a double crochet chain 3, so it's basically the same thing. So now from now on, you're going to chain 3 into the next chain 3 with a single crochet, chain 3 into the chain 3 with a single crochet. So I'm basically doing the single crochet row up right above the double crochet row, and you guys did see that I did not chain 5 for the single crochet row because I'm going straight into this row from the previous row. I'm going straight into the previous row, so I don't have to chain 5. You can only do that when you're working with panels and you have to turn, but since we're not working in panels, you don't actually have to do that. So I'm just going to repeat the chain 3 double single crochet in this case until I get to the beginning. So coming to the very beginning, you can use a stitch marker to mark this exact spot so you can actually identify where to switch back to the double crochet row from the single crochet row. But I don't think I need to do that because I have this string which is going to just make things easy. So when I get to this point, I know I'm going to switch from a single crochet to a double crochet if that is what my previous row was. Also, you can also see that this next stitch is a single crochet stitch, which means from here on, after chaining 3, I'm going to go into this next chain 3 space with a double crochet instead of a single crochet, because again automatically I'm starting the next row. And guys, this is what I'm going to repeat until I have my desired length. You can decide to switch your size, your crochet hook after before the last few rows, just so you can have a flare to the sleeve if you want to do that. But I'm just going to repeat this and then I'll show you guys what I have in a bit. But for now, this is what it looks like. Hey guys, right here I just finished my 2 sleeve. I have my 2 sleeve on the side, so I'm just going to turn the actual panel into the actual dress into the seam area, basically like the wrong side, so where the seam is, because that is where I'm going to go ahead and attach the sleeve. So you want to make sure you're again where the seam is, and I'm just going to grab the sleeve and insert the sleeve inwards, but then I'm going to make sure the base, which is going to be the edge of the sleeve, goes inside the armpit area, just the same way I'm doing. And I usually just go back and find the yarn where I ended off the row, so I can align that to the seam on around the armpit area, just because it's just logic that you do that. So right there you see me tying a knot with the 2 different string that I had from the 2 different panel, and this is just the same easy way that I always attach my sleeve. So I'm just going to go around with a single crochet row. You can use a needle for this, you can use a slip stitch for this, but I always just stick to a single crochet. So I'm just going to go into that very first space, go into the space around the sleeve as well, and then attach my yarn. And right from there, I'm just going to go into every available space around the sleeve and around the actual armpit area of the dress. And that's how you're going to just attach each and every available space or chain, whatever you can see around that area, all around until you get to the very beginning. So first you're going to chain 1, go into the next available space or available chain in that case, and then grab the sleeve. Make sure you do the same thing on the sleeve as well, because that's the only way you get to attach both together. So you're going to go again into the next available space on the sleeve and then single crochet those 2 together. And that is what I'm going to repeat all around. And of course I'm going to do the same thing for the opposite sleeve as well, and I'll see you guys when I have that complete. So I did not want to leave the neckline so plain, and also around the circle of the front panel, I just didn't want to leave that so plain, because I feel like adding an extra row will just knit in every area around that area. So I'm just turning the dress to the right side after attaching the sleeve, and then from there on I'm just going to go around the neckline and around the circle with after crochet row. So I'm just going to grab the yarn and I'm going to go into the circle first with my after crochet row. And right there you can see that I went into that center stitch, and I'm just going to attach the yarn with a knot. And I usually just go back and tie an extra knot just to make sure it's secure. So from there on, I'm going to go ahead and chain one, and I'm going to go into every available chain or every available space with a single crochet all around the circle. You cannot really tell how many single crochets you need to do around the circle. You just want to make sure you're doing enough to not get the circle wider or smaller. Basically, just put in the right amount, just in any available space. You're not increasing and you're not decreasing. You just want to go ahead and do one single crochet all around the circle. So I'm gonna do that now, and I'll see you guys when I have that complete. So coming to the end, you're just going to slip stitch into the very first chain single crochet you did, and then cut off the yarn, and that's the simple single crochet row around the circle. And again, you can see that this just makes the circle look so much better. You can sew in your loose ends now, or you can leave that and do that right after. And now to the actual neckline, I'm just going to do the same thing I did around the circle. I'm going to find that very center stitch and attach the yarn with a secure knot. Right after, I'm going to go ahead and chain one, and this time around I'm going to repeat single crochet row as well all around. Again, like I mentioned, around the neckline, you don't really can tell I cannot really give you guys an estimate of how many stitches you need to do. You're just going to make sure you're adding one single crochet into every available stitch, and then make sure you're not adding too much but also not too little. So that's what I'm doing all around the first row of the neckline. So I'm just going to go all around the neckline with one single crochet like you see me doing until I get to the very beginning. So right after the single crochet row, I am going to do an additional row, but this time around it's going to be a half double crochet row. So I'm going to just slip stitch into that very first single crochet I did, chain one, and this time around I'm going to go into every available stitch from the previous row with one half double crochet. And this is obviously optional. You don't have to do this. If you decide to go for one row of single crochet, then it's totally fine, but I just wanted to do an extra row to just see what it looks like. So I'm just repeating one half double crochet all around, and when I get to the very end, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into that very first half double crochet I did and end of the row. And that's honestly what the pattern is about. The rest of it, it's easy, it's optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I did later on go ahead and attach fringe to the sleeve and to the edge of the skirt of the dress. So right here I have my yarn fringe cut and ready for me to fix. I did not film the process of me cutting this because I just couldn't get a clip. So it's just it's very simple. You're just going to take the length of how long you want the dress to be, and then just make a long, I don't know if I can insert a video here that can help you guys with that, but I am using a different yarn for the fringe because I couldn't find the exact yarn that I wanted in the store. But I think it just turned out so beautiful even with this different yarn. It has a little glitter to it, and I think it just adds a little spark to the actual dress. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert the fringe into every single stitch at the very edge of it. So right there, I'm just going to grab one, and I usually make sure that the edges just align together so I don't have to do too much cutting at the very end. So, and I'm going to go to the very side and go into the very first stitch, grab the yarn, just the same way you start a stitch. I'm going to just grab the yarn, pull the yarn through, and I'm just going to grab the two edge of it, and then like that I have my first fringe attached. Super simple. So again, I'm going to grab the second one just so you guys can see what I'm doing. Align the two edge of it together, go into the next available stitch from the previous one, and I'm going to just grab the yarn, open the loop, pass the two string together, and now I have my second one. And that's honestly what I did, one after the other. It's time consuming, but it's definitely worth it if you put the time to it. And then for the sleeve, I did the same thing, but then with a shorter fringe. So I did cut that particular length into 4 so I can have a shorter one. Super simple. And that's what I ended up doing for the entire rest of the sleeve and the edge of the dress actually.